Warning. What you are about to see and hear is for entertainment purposes only. The opinions expressed on the show are our opinions and do not reflect the views of BTW 21 or its staff. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel and Chad.
People are looking, God is looking for something real. People are looking for something real. Just be real. We're your hosts, Daniel Lewis, Brother Chad Hudson.
Hello.
We are here with a very special guest. I have to slow it down just a little bit because he is one of our local heroes. This guy-
Hero. Yes, sir.
Right. And I can't say it enough. Local heroes, Assistant Chief to the Patrick Springs Volunteer Fire Department. This is in Patrick County. And not only does he do that, but he does so much more. This guy has been dear to my heart for many years. I am grateful to have him as a guest here on Be Real Podcast. I'm so grateful that he decided to come out here and be with us. So we're going to introduce him, Mr. Clint Wheatus. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, Daniel.
Right,
Thank
and-
you, Chad.
Thank
Introduce
you.
yourself
Thank you
over
for
there, and
coming out.
that's your camera, brother.
I am here.
You are here.
First time in front of all this.
Yes, yes. He's like, man, what are you gonna ask me? And I said, just be real, brother. Just be real.
All right.
So we got a lot of going on. We got a lot to talk about. Volunteers in the state of Virginia, well, any state, volunteers. It's a rough situation to be able to volunteer, and it's hard to get volunteers to go and to do anything. So when you have people like this, I gotta say thank you, especially in a county, and I mean I'm just kind of taking it over here, in a county of Patrick where we have no hospital. We have no hospital. They folded up in 2016, I think, 2015, somewhere around in there. We rely totally on our volunteers, and that puts a major stress on the volunteers.
I know, Daniel, with you working for hospice, you know, your volunteers are everything.
Yes, our volunteers are everything.
How do you promote these positions open? I mean, it's a volunteer. That means no pay whatsoever, or?
That's correct, Chad. Everything in Patrick County, as far as fire department related and rescue squad, is 100% volunteer, and has been since each department was formed. In particular, Patrick Springs Fire Department, who we're kind of talking about tonight, was formed in 1969.
Nice.
And so from the beginning of Patrick Springs' time, it was, it's all been 100% volunteer.
All right.
So it's a big dedication that you commit to.
Very time consuming.
Very time consuming, and it's all what you want to make of it. You can be a lackadaisical fireman, or you could be a go-getter fireman. And depending on which one you want to do, it's a lot of training. So if you're really into being a good fireman and trying to learn the craft and get better at this stuff, you're gonna seek out the training. You're gonna take the training, and there's a lot of training to be taken, and it's time consuming, and that's something when we're looking for firefighters in the community. When those of us are out there talking to people, hey, would you be interested coming to the fire department? We need to make sure we put in there, or in that verbiage, hey, this is it can be time consuming getting the training
Right.
to get going, and you got to be dedicated.
Right.
And I mean, that's a big thing with income this day and age, and families providing for their loved ones, providing for their family, taking the time out twice a week, each evening, twice a week, and some weekends for 4-month period to get certified as a firefighter one it can be difficult.
All right. So we kind of put you on the spot, and I don't want to do that. I want you to tell us. So you're Mr. Clint Wheatus. You're from Patrick County.
Yep. Yes, sir.
How old are you, brother?
I'm 41 years old. Lived in Patrick County all my life, and it's a great place to live.
Right. So what got you in? I know you got this spiel, and you want to talk about everything, and I want you to say it. But
Daniel wants to talk about you.
I want to talk about you.
He wants to
brother.
talk about you. Get a little personal.
Because this man right here, there's only, and I'm just going to say this one time, I'm sorry. There's only very few people that I would trust to come out to my house. And you've been out to my house. We had an emergency. I woke up. There was smoke all in my house. Yeah, it was smoke in my house. Dude, it was not a good situation. I grabbed all my chihuahuas. I put them in the car. This man come out here, crawled up under there, was like looking at all the stuff. Before that even happened.
Was that your central air?
Yeah, it was like a right. Before that even happened, I commended him a lot, and all of them a lot. Brad Lawless, I don't want to start naming names because I'll forget everybody. Yep. But I just threw Brad out there. I just went to school with him, but very good people. It's great to live in a community, a local community as Patrick County, and to have these people that are professionals that are willing and loving what they do to come out there to what you do. So, sorry, you're 41.
Yep.
What got you into
firefighting? So, me personally, became amazed with firefighting when I was a little boy. I was probably 2 to 5 years old, and I would come down to Martinsville and stay with my grandparents on the weekends on my mom's side.
Really?
And my grandfather, living in Martinsville City, most grandparents or parents will always take their children to, hey, let's go look at the fire truck, or let's go to the firehouse. Yeah. So my grandfather, Jack Lester, he would take me to Martinsville City Firehouse, number one station. And I would crawl all over the fire trucks back then. We're talking about, this is late 80s. And I just loved it. And he would take me there every time I would come down here and visit. And,
nice.
I just, seeing that over and over, it just burned it in my mind, and I just thought it was really cool.
Right.
Now, moving forward, you can't really do anything until you're 15 years of age, and you can become a junior firefighter. Wow. Most departments have a program like that where a 15-year-old can join, and then between the ages of 15 and 18, you're pretty much very limited on what you can do.
Sorry, I know you're telling your story. Can you do that at Patrick Springs?
Yes.
So 15 years old.
Yep. At age 15, you can come in and join up as a junior firefighter.
So if you're a high schooler, you got 15 years old.
So what do they got them cleaning trucks, winding up some hoses?
So we encourage everything. You need to put in the work. You need to show that you're willing to work hard.
Right.
And you want to learn the trade and the craft of firefighting. And as soon as you come in, it doesn't matter how old you are, we're going to train with you. And we're going to start training you and, start working with you. And as far as fighting fire at that age, you're really kind of stuck on the sidelines.
Yes.
And maybe helping clean up afterwards. And I do believe, I don't want to misspeak, but I think at age 16 or 17, it might be age 17, you can legally participate in the Virginia Firefighter 1 certification class.
Oh.
with your parents co-signing the proper documents so that you can move forward throughout the class, and it's not a liability issue.
That's where you get them. You get them when they're young. That's
Yeah.
where people start playing football. That's where, playing sports.
But it's
Getting
hard
into
though
fire
because high schoolers, and they're so in tune with sports and high school and social aspects of being a teenager. We don't really get to pull a lot from that because it's just the fire department. They rather go out to a get together or play sports or something, which
Right.
is great, and I would promote that coming up with my kids. But being a volunteer is something very special too, and
Very.
if you start young and work up like I did, I think it's just better that way because most time you don't have a lot of commitments at that young age, and you can
Yes.
take classes and
You
train.
got a lot going on when you're young. I mean, you don't seem like it does, but you want to do what you want to do.
Yeah,
So giving back to the community is a
huge.
major, huge thing.
and we are at a big disadvantage in Patrick County because our population of the county is not that big. What, about 19,000, 21-ish thousand?
Right.
All the young kids leave the area. So when they're done graduating high school, they move on because there's, not a lot there.
Right. Right.
And so we struggle to retain young people. And I think Patrick County struggles in that in general.
It does.
They all move off and go away. And
Right.
I don't blame some of that. I tried that.
Yeah, me too.
And I didn't like it. I loved Patrick
Nope.
County, and I was coming back home.
Right. Amen.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I love it. I love it to death. So Patrick Springs, you kind of mentioned that a little bit. You're with the Patrick Springs Volunteer Fire Department. Now you run with Stewart also, right? I mean, you got
Yes,
there's
I'm a captain up there.
Right.
I run with Stewart Fire as well. I've been with Patrick Springs since February of 1997,
wow.
and I joined Stewart Fire in February of 1999. Stewart Fire did not have a junior firefighting program at the time that we do now, but at the time they didn't, and so I was unable to join, so I had to wait till I was 18. And so I got all my training before I turned 18. Also, being a member at Patrick Springs, getting to learn the craft, how to, flow water, operate the tools, all that stuff. So when I joined Stewart, it was kind of like I'd been doing it.
Yeah.
So, so I'm in Stewart Fire as well, and also on the Patrick County Special Ops team.
That's awesome.
And, that team, the Special Ops team, is comprised of members from all the different departments.
That's one thing I wanted to bring up with the special op team. Now, what is that? That's just not fire or rescue or anything. It comprises of everything, right?
Yeah, the Patrick County Special Ops team is a team that was set up about 13 years ago now by Steve Allen, who was emergency management coordinator then.
Yeah.
To handle technical rescue situations, mostly at the time involving mountain rescue and steep terrain rescue, where you have
Because we got Lover's Leap, we got
Kremlin.
Oh my gosh!
Yep.
We are half mountain.
Yep. And
in
so
Patrick County.
that team was set up initially to handle specialized rope rescue incidents in the county.
Nice.
And then it kind of blossomed and unfolded, if you will, into a let's get trained and equipped to handle other type situations, such as a confined space, which might be a small child falling in a well, or it could be a dog.
Well, that's where I met you a few years back. You were on a team to rescue a big old horse
Yep.
that had been stuck.
in
Tell us a little
Ferrystone.
bit more of that.
Ferrystone.
What are we talking about?
Well, there was either a Belgian or
It was I believe it was a Clydesdale.
a Clyde. It was a big breed of
Yeah.
horse that was laid over and stuck, and they were all up, and that's where I met them from.
Laid over and stuck. What are you talking
It was in a spring.
It was in a spring.
A swampy area.
about?
Yeah, and they got it out. I guess.
It was.
I don't know what
It
else
was
to say
crazy.
about it.
I've never been involved in anything like that before. That is a whole craft in itself.
That's a big animal.
Large,
Yes.
large animal rescue
You get hurt real bad.
is a whole other craft, a whole other training.
Wow.
And there's a team in Culpeper, Virginia that's really good at it, and that's all they do. And they go all over the state when a farmer has a downed animal that needs to be picked up and rescued. But yeah, so we got the special ops team, and we kind of blossomed that into being prepared to handle anything rope, anything confined space. We can handle trench collapse.
Wow.
So if a construction company or utility company is putting in pipe and they're deep in the ground and something should go wrong and the trench cave in, we can handle that. We can also handle structural collapse stuff. So if, typically in our area of Patrick County, when you're talking about a structural collapse, most of the time it's going to be a vehicle involved in a crash and they run into a house or another type of building.
Not a 14-story building coming down.
We hope not. We hope
that
not.
we don't have those.
No, right.
But you will have occasionally a vehicle go into a building, and if that person's trapped in the vehicle, then you need to worry about, well, here I am working on getting them out of the vehicle, but I need to worry about the building falling down on us.
Right.
So there's things you have to do before you can even really focus on trying to get that person out. You got to stabilize the building. So the special ops team, like I said, is comprised of members from each department, and we need participation in that. We're looking to grow that.
So we got, was it 8 departments in Patrick County?
We actually got nine
Nine
fire departments.
Fire departments.
Yep.
And they provide not only fire but also rescue.
Yep. To some degree there. A couple of the fire departments do first responder, like Stewart
first
Fire.
responder, yes.
In particular, the town of Stewart runs a first responder truck to be toned out with the rescue squad.
Right, to get out there to them. The one thing I've deeply admired, and one thing you could say, or you could speak on more, and I'm not really sure of it, is that Virginia has 100 counties. There is a level of love that comes with wanting to volunteer, because you got to care for your community.
Yep.
It's not only a commitment, but it's also, it blows my mind, because I love, and I know not a lot of y'all, but I know a lot of the volunteers. I have for many years, and it blows my mind that they care, because they got other jobs. You got other jobs.
Yep.
So I think one thing you didn't want me to mention on here was CW Tree Works, but I'm going to mention it.
Yep.
Because just the other day we had it was a mess coming through.
A little tornado activity.
Little tornado activity.
It seemed like it.
Yeah, it was bad. So we're riding around, we're taking pictures. Me and my wife go out trying to, help the neighbors or whatever, and trees are falling down, whatever. And I see Company 23 truck out there, and then right behind that I see CW Tree Works.
Yeah, I was actually running the calls with Patrick Springs. We cut quite a few trees out of the roadway.
Right, quite a bit.
Stewart Fire, Patrick Springs, Moorfield Store, they stayed out. I think we all stayed out about 3.5 hours. And
it was a lot.
I was in my POV, which was my CW Tree Works truck. But I was
with the baddest wood chipper you've ever seen in your life. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That sucker, full trees.
That stuff's very dangerous.
Very
for the volunteers to be out cutting trees in the roadway.
Right, and they've always done that.
Yes, and we have done it in active storms, and there have been firemen killed nationally doing that. Because a top falls out while you're out there trying to clean, And the primary reason that we do it is because VDOT gets overwhelmed.
Yes.
And then you run into the thing of, well, what if a car crash happens, or someone's house catches on fire, or someone has a heart attack and now the ambulance can't get down the road?
Yes.
So I feel like a lot of us feel at the fire department there's a duty to act on that, even though it's kind of VDOT's responsibility. We want to be out there taking care of our community because
preventative.
That's right.
Preventative.
So that storm was a mess. And,
It was.
But you're right. So the volunteers work, and the call comes in, and you drop what you're doing if you're able. I know me personally, and the chief of Patrick Springs, Joey Ericetti, who's a great chief
Yes.
and a good leader, he does the same, and there's quite a few others all across the county. You know, we might be working, and we might have our crew. We're paying these guys to, work in our personal businesses,
Right.
and now we get a fire, and we pretty much halt everything and tell our guys, we'll stay at the shop, do something. I got to run this call.
Let's do it.
And I've even, me personally, made my guys sit in the parking lot of
But
Patrick Springs.
still paying them.
Still paying them,
Right.
and I go run the call real quick, But I don't think twice about it, because I know in our community we're hurting for volunteers.
Yes.
And if I don't go, and a couple of us don't go, who's going to
Who's
go?
gonna go? Man.
And time is ticking when especially motor vehicle crashes and
Right.
and house fires. If you don't know if everyone's out of the house yet, you've only got golden hour rule for injured people in automobile accidents, and then you have only 15-20 minutes, and realistically less than that, to get somebody out of a house fire.
Right.
House fire.
Right.
So you got to go, and that's what makes being a good volunteer, and that's what we're looking for at Patrick Springs. We want guys and women that can come in the door wanting to help the community.
Yes.
That are going to be dedicated.
Yes.
And we understand you may not have all the time to take all the training, but if you want to be a firefighter, you've got to understand the training that's involved with that at least. And that brings me to the point of these 9 guys that we just had go through at Patrick Springs.
Right. Let's do it. Thank you, man.
We just had a really big uptick in manpower in the last 8-9 months. And us line officers of Patrick Springs are just, we're excited.
So thankful.
Because now we've got a bunch of young guys.
Yes.
That's great.
These 9 guys went through the Firefighter 1 training, and there's most people don't know this, but there's almost a 50% fail rate
Really?
right now in the Firefighter 1 curriculum program.
You got to kind of vet them and be.
Well, it's academics. It's like taking a college class, only it's on firefighting.
Wow.
And currently there's a 50% fail rate right now. And so when we had our 9 guys sign up, we were just, praying. We want to get all of our guys through.
Right.
And credit to them, man. Our 9 guys that we put through stuck with it, and they passed that test, that exam. And
great.
we got all 9 of them through.
Man,
and
that's awesome.
So at Patrick Springs, we have just been blessed lately with manpower and taking on some new volunteers, and we're looking at wanting to take on more. And we're trying to do that through social media with our Facebook page.
Yeah, awesome.
And I think that's where you'll get a lot
Yes.
of pull is people seeing what we're doing.
Right.
And then again,
wanting to give back.
it takes a special person too.
Yes.
But it's just not youth. I mean, if someone in their 30s or 40s feel inclined, maybe their kids have gone off to college and they have a little extra time on their hands.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And we're getting ready to. We've got a prospect getting ready to come in now that's a little bit older, and anyone can volunteer now to. If you want to fight fire, you got to be a little bit
In shape?
in shape.
Yeah.
It's really physically demanding, and in the summertime it can be brutal. Since
Can
May
imagine.
since May 25th, we've had 6 house fires in Patrick County, which is unusual for this time of year.
Yeah.
And it has taken just about half of the county's fire companies to battle these fires each time, just because we're slack on volunteers.
Yeah.
And during the working day, everyone's working.
Right.
And a long time ago, back in the day when the economy was better, a lot of industries would let their workers that they knew were volunteers leave
Yes.
and go run the call.
Right.
That has almost stopped completely. At least it has in Patrick County. And so during the day, we have a hard time getting the numbers out, especially, you know, and when you've got a house fire or a large brush fire or even a severe motor vehicle crash where you've got entrapped patients and you're having to cut them out of the vehicle, you need manpower.
Right.
Now, what's the fix to that to these companies that have volunteers that work for them? What would be an incentive to them to just let their employees go? I mean, how can we fix that?
It's got to be Patrick County.
That sounds like
It's
a
gotta be
$1 million question.
Right,
Yeah, right.
right. It's got to be the rule, knowing that you're helping your family or neighbor or whatever.
Yeah, but to convince the employer to let them go.
That's a
and
hard
let 'em
one.
go. Yeah.
That's a hard one because at the end of the day, that's taken away from production.
Right.
Profit.
But those are the ones I like to answer. I like the
okay,
hard
I know
ones,
I know what you're saying, but I'm sitting here with two business owners. You own CW Tree Works. You own Boyce Island Veterinary Services.
I'm letting them go. There's somebody's
There's
family.
something about Patrick
there's-
County.
You know, I witnessed a fire back when I was 6 years old. A kid up the street lit his house on fire, and I saw what it did to that family. I mean, it devastated that family.
yeah.
Everything that was lost. Everything that was lost. Everything.
Everything.
So I think you got to let them go. We got a 2-minute warning. We're going to come back and talk to you some more. I want to talk about
Thank
this
you,
helmet.
Clint.
This helmet's got some mileage on it.
That's got some
And,
mileage,
that's something to be proud of.
baby.
And,
Love it.
Right. I love,
love
it, too.
it.
We'll talk about the equipment or
Yes,
something.
yes.
All right, we'll be back in
Thank
a
you,
minute.
Clint. We'll be right back.
Please like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Thank you.
And we're back. Thank you for joining us. We are here with Patrick Springs Volunteer Fire Department Assistant Chief Clint Wheatus. And this means a lot to us because we have no hospital. I can't press that enough. I can't push that enough. We have no hospital in Patrick County. We have no hospital. We've been promised all these things. It's not coming up. We rely on the volunteers. And these volunteers are something special to all of our hearts. We got over 17,000 people in our county, and that's including my family.
We're growing. I think we're about up to 19 now.
Are we?
Yeah.
I just can't express how much I greatly appreciate all these guys. I did a little volunteering in my life with the Jeb Stewart Rescue Squad. But I'm so grateful to have Clint Wheatus out here. I wish I could give more, but this is how we are going to make it known.
This is what we could give.
This is the way we give. We need to do more than that. But tell us, Clint. I mean, okay, there's one thing you didn't want to mention, but this gear cost a lot. We can see right here. And so, but it runs out. I mean, it's once you get the gear, it's not eternal.
No, that's correct. Yeah, so what you see here behind us, we've got the air pack back here. That's a Scott air pack, and that's vital for going into house fires or battling a vehicle fire or equipment fire.
Which you've had here in
Yep.
Patrick County.
Oh, yeah.
Or there in Patrick County.
Very vital piece of equipment, and then the turnout gear. So things are going up in cost all across the board. Fire trucks, firefighting equipment, gear, and air packs. So currently right now for an air pack, the going rate is right at $9,500. And that's with no whistles and bells. If you add some features that are available, the price does go up. But they're about $9,500 for the air pack. And the turnout gear has just gotten outrageous. It's about $5,500. So if you want to equip a new volunteer coming into the fire department,
And you have 9 or 10.
Yep, which we've been able to get them gear. We could use some more new gear if the budget would and could allow. Unfortunately, it doesn't right now. But to outfit a firefighter, $5,500 right there just to get them the gear.
Right.
The air packs normally have like a 15-year lifespan on the pack. The bottles are actually they'll go out of date. I think it's 15 years on the bottle. The pack can actually be used longer, but NFPA which
Still.
is the National Fire Protection Agency, recommends that you replace them before that.
Now,
Right,
this is a
right.
refill tank, right?
Yes, these tanks are refillable.
How long do you have on that tank?
So this particular tank behind me is a hour bottle, but typically most fire companies will carry 30-minute or 45-minute bottles. Now, when you're fighting a fire and you're pulling hose, crawling through a house, you get the fire knocked down, and now you got to pull the ceiling down and pull the walls down to expose the fire. You go through that air quickly.
Oh, yeah.
If you have a victim inside that you're trying to remove from the house, it can go even quicker.
So as you breathe, you're using more of that tank.
Yep.
And you're going to go through it.
And you've got to be cognizant of your gauges, and there are different indicators on the pack. Your face piece will start vibrating when you get down to about 25% of air left. The face piece actually vibrates. And all of this gets even worse if we have a firefighter go down, which is just a horrible thing that I hope we never have to deal with in Patrick County. To my knowledge, we've never had a Mayday situation
Praise God.
involving a firefighter. But when that happens, you got to remember, pulling a simple victim out of the house, they can weigh a lot. But typically firemen weigh more because we've got the gear on, we've got the air pack on.
Like pulling two people out of there.
Yes, and so it takes it can take multiple firemen just to get one fireman out of the building, which goes back to another point, and I don't want to jump around, but in Patrick County, where we don't have very many volunteers, or it's hard to get them out during the day. Say we go out to fight a house fire and there's only 6 or 8 of us on scene fighting this house fire, and then 2 guys go down. Let's say they fall into the basement of the house. Now you're effectively going to have to pull everyone that's there into rescue mode, and it can be extremely difficult. And so that's something to think about. And you gotta fight fire smarter almost in those situations where you have limited manpower, because you don't have a lot of people on the outside that are going to be coming in.
Now, are you able to fill up your tank on the scene? How does that work? Let's say you get a call and it's a heck of a fire. You're there fighting, and next thing you know, your mask starts vibrating or whatever you said it did, and you're running low. What happens then?
So, of course, you would come out of the fire. You would come out a little bit before that, hopefully. And in Patrick County, we get a 4 fire department response on a confirmed structure fire. So we get 4 fire departments when we know it's a house fire, which I can't stress enough, which is important. That puts you more manpower on scene. Some localities will only send 2 fire departments, and some will do 1. But in Patrick County, you're going to get 4. And I know, like down in Stokes County, North Carolina, they actually send 6 departments when they have a confirmed fire. So what happens in Patrick County is you get the 4 fire department response, and then we're also supposed to get the response of the air trailer. The county had purchased an air trailer about 15 years ago. It's an air compressor. It's certified every quarter, so that's delivering
4
fresh
times
air.
a year, right?
And that's something that Steve Allen, I would say.
Yeah, and that was purchased 15 years ago. So it is.
15.
We almost need a new one at this point in stage. It's becoming harder to fill the bottles because the high pressure bottles. We used to have 30-minute bottles, which operated at 2,200 pounds. Now with the 45-minute bottles, you're operating at 4,500 psi pressure, which is difficult for an air compressor to fill that, being an older unit. So that's something in Patrick County that I think we need coming up here shortly. We're going to need a new air trailer. But yes, the air trailer would respond to the scene, and we would fill the bottles as the incident is progressing. Sometimes we don't.
Who makes the? Sorry, I know. Who makes the call for the air?
It should be protocol, automatic, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So the line officers from that originating fire department would get on the radio and say, "CCOM, get me the air trailer en route." And sometimes we can't because we don't have the manpower.
Wow.
And so each fire engine in most every fire department carries spare cylinders.
Gotcha.
So when you buy the air pack, you're spending $9,500 for the pack, and then you got to buy a spare bottle to go with it, which is typically anywhere from $1,200 to $1,600 a bottle.
Wow.
So you carry your spare bottles on your engine, which normally last on average, if you're in physical good shape, maybe 30 minutes. If you're not in shape, then that bottle may last you only 20 minutes.
You're huffing air.
You're huffing air. And again, very physically demanding. And so the cost of equipment's going up, and unfortunately our budget in Patrick County for the fire departments hasn't gone up, it's gone down. And so it has become increasingly difficult to manage that equipment budget with less funds each year. But that's why it's important.
So what does the average person need to do?
I think the average person in Patrick County needs,
They working. I mean, they're homeowner. They're working. 40+ hours a week. What can they do to, if they can't volunteer? What do they need to do? Reach out to the board of supervisors.
Reach out to the board of supervisors
In your district.
Yep, and let them know that we need to support the fire department. More.
Yes.
And then just homeowners in general.
Well, it's not a tragedy until it's
too late.
too late. Until it's already there.
Right.
There, this equipment's not getting cheaper.
No.
And it is.
Everybody knows.
It is astronomical. So we just put together a grant involving Patrick Springs, Ferrystone Fire Department, Woolwine Fire Department, and AirAt. All of us 4 fire departments are running out of time on our air packs. So we felt like we could get a FEMA grant maybe a little better if we all went in together to show that there's a dire need in Patrick County.
Right. Amen.
So all 4 of us have gone in and written this grant for 99 air packs, and it goes by riding position. So if you have an engine that seats 6, FEMA says you can have 6 air packs on that engine. If your engine only rides 4, then you can have 4 air packs. So that's how it goes. Okay. So 99 air packs has been on this, has been written into this grant, and it is $1.2 million for 99 air packs and a spare bottle.
Right.
So we are really praying hard that we get this grant. All the departments, the 4 departments are, because
What is that compared to life? Especially a county that has no hospital. We have no hospital.
Or let's just say
we're dependent on you.
The county.
We're dependent on you, brother.
The county's getting a service for free.
Right. Right.
They're not paying for engine companies to be staffed at each firehouse.
Right.
The volunteers are out here risking our lives.
Yes.
We need to be,
leaving their jobs.
Yep. Compensated
it's
for that. As far as equipment wise and being able to have the right stuff.
And they don't even ask for that. That's what I love about Patrick County so much. They don't look to, well, I'm not getting compensated for what I'm doing. They just do it because they love the community that they're in, which is Patrick County. I love it, man. That's why I've loved about you for years and years and years.
Well, we just got to, those of us.
And I know you would argue is like there's other people, and I know there are other people, but, I've seen it. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And, we're just a bunch of guys that are, you got to be, as a volunteer fireman, if you got to be compassionate.
Yes.
You got to be willing to put yourself in harm's way for others. I mean, when you go into a house fire, especially if there's someone trapped in there, you may not come back.
Right.
And you got to have an understanding of that. And
it's like the military.
Yep. Yeah. That's right. Or being a law enforcement officer.
Yeah, law enforcement. Yes.
You've got to be dedicated.
Yes.
You've got to be committed. And you got to put yourself before others.
Right.
Amen.
And yes. I love it.
That's just an important piece of being a volunteer.
And I think we have a lot of those folks in Patrick County. And so hopefully this will open up a lot of eyes to I need to do this. I know Clint. I watched the podcast. I know Clint. I need to get out there, and there's so many other ones too, not just Clint. But I mean, I've known you for years. You've been into it, what, 27 years?
25.
25 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
25 years
Wow.
at Patrick Springs.
Wow.
That's great.
Wow.
And
you've been all over the place. I mean, there's
Now, in your
not
time,
just here.
in your time there, nothing stats, just your personal opinion. What causes the most house fires?
So that's another interesting question. I'm not a fire investigator. I have taken some classes.
But I'm sure
on it.
you've seen them. That's why I asked for just your personal opinion. No stats, no nothing.
Dryer vents.
Dryer vents.
The piping on dryer vents, dryers in general clog up and lint.
Man, I would say that you do not need to have a wood furnace in a trailer.
A wood furnace? What are you doing with
The-
a wood furnace in a trailer?
Well, and I just want to say we actually have a business now in Patrick County that just started up from one of our own captains at Patrick Springs Fire Department, Ross Adams, has started his own side business called Fully Involved Lint Removal.
There we go.
And so
He saw a need.
I love it. He did, and
Yes.
he got set up. He's got the gear. He comes out and will clean your dryer. And I'm not
Nice.
talking about just taking the hose apart and pulling the screen. He takes the dryer
Everything.
Make
apart
sure it's right.
and cleans in it. A lot of fires I've seen that way.
I didn't mean to laugh, but it's
So give him a call if
Right.
for dryer vent cleaning.
yes.
And it is a thing in other places.
it's
But we've
crazy.
never had somebody
Wild.
doing it around Patrick County.
No, that's right. I've been there
and-
45 years. I have never heard that.
so-
I love it.
And he's on Facebook, Fully Involved Lint Removal.
Fully involved.
It's great. I love it. It was a good business name.
Right.
So dryer vents, exhaust fans in bathrooms
Really?
for
Right.
some reason, a lot of electrical stuff, and lithium-ion batteries is becoming a thing. We're now
Oh, no.
They get hot, right?
and we haven't seen anything yet in Patrick County, but a lot of big municipalities like New York City has been seeing just crazy problems.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
it's killing people.
It is.
And it's toxic.
It is.
It's very
toxic.
toxic.
Very
and
toxic.
It's almost
Amen.
It's almost considered it's pretty much considered a hazmat.
It is.
So if
Yes.
we went into a garage fire and there's 10 lithium-ion DeWalt drill
They're
batteries on
going to
the
eat
floor,
through the concrete. Is what they're going to do.
we're supposed to scoop them up and put them in a drum
Right.
and follow
Man,
proper
that's crazy.
hazmat protocol.
Really?
So, but smoke detectors. If I can't say anything enough, smoke detectors is important.
Yes.
Patrick Springs. We like going to the elementary schools and promoting fire safety. We do it every year.
You do.
This past year, we went to the 3rd grade class at Patrick Springs Primary
Yes.
Elementary School, and I was astounded when I asked these kids the question, "How many of y'all have smoke detectors in your home?" And half of them didn't raise their
don't
hand.
even know.
It
They don't
scared.
know.
It scared me.
Right.
It downright scared me. It's very important. We just had a fire in Ararat. Last week had a working house fire, a very difficult fire because the departments that were toned out just couldn't get volunteers out. It was early in the morning at about 5:38. Patrick Springs, we sent a crew over to Ararat and helped the Ararat.
So
Fire
from
Department.
Patrick Springs, just so people don't know, Patrick Springs to Ararat, hour. Easily.
It was right
That's after you get driving.
I think our captain Ross in the engine said it was 46 minutes.
46 minutes.
I went in my personal vehicle, so I think I got there around 28 or 29 minutes.
Gotcha.
Flying.
He's moving.
The
That's good.
lady was asleep in the home, and the fire started in the basement.
So that seems to be common, those early morning fires.
Yes,
for
it
Yeah,
some-
oh,
is,
yeah.
it is,
Oh, yeah.
So the fire started in the basement, which is a basement fire can be a vicious thing on many levels.
Right, because
Well, you burn the floor,
Well,
and then you
you're
go
up,
in there.
Yeah, you're upstairs, and
Right.
that fire can spread and develop into a really bad situation before your smoke detectors upstairs even go off. Especially if you've got good doors,
Right.
Right.
right? So she was in the house, it burnt through the floor into a bedroom.
Man.
And the smoke detector started going off, and it woke her up. By the time when she woke up to
This
the
thing's
smoke
already cooking.
when she woke up to the smoke detector going off, the smoke was banked down to her body, laying on the bed. She rolled off the bed choking and had to crawl into the hallway.
God.
Apparently tried to stand up again, but the hallway was charged with smoke. So she literally got back on her hands and knees and got out. But, smoke
Thank the
detectors.
Lord.
Smoke detectors, people.
Yep.
Smoke
Smoke
detectors.
detectors.
Right.
Good gravy. That's crazy.
We had smoke detectors as a kid, but anytime my mom cooked, they'd go off. So they would kind of unplug.
Right.
So I just want to say also, because I don't know how much more time we
Oh,
have.
we got plenty, brother. Take
Yeah,
it.
this is yours.
So, if you want to volunteer at Patrick Springs Fire Department
Yes.
or Stewart Fire, get on social media. I know Patrick Springs, we have a Facebook page. They can go there, message us.
Awesome.
You can come by at Patrick Springs. We do training every week on Tuesday. Starting at 6 p.m.
Right.
There's only a few fire departments in Patrick County that train once a week. I think it's important. We have for years at Patrick Springs
Yes.
and at Stewart. Training is very important.
Very.
You got to practice your skills. And so we're there
Gonna be ready.
6 p.m. every Tuesday night. If you're interested, you can stop in and say, hey, I'm interested.
Hey, I've seen Clint.
Yep.
Right.
Let's do it.
Now, a structure fire, that's only a percentage, right? Now, we got forest fires, we have
Yep.
car fire, automobile fires.
So at Patrick Springs Fire Department, our biggest generator of calls typically is motor vehicle crashes and then brush fires.
With the Highway 58 there,
Yep.
I'm sure you got yeah.
We run at Patrick Springs, we have a structure engine that runs structure fires. We have a squad, another engine that we call the Squad 23. It runs motor vehicle crashes, anything rescue oriented. It can run structure fires. It's equipped for that too, but it's heavy equipped for rescue. So we carry the Jaws of Life.
Thank God.
Incidentally, we need to upgrade our Jaws of Life at Patrick Springs, and those aren't cheap either. The Hearst tools, they're battery operated now, and they're really amazing technology, but they're expensive. So that's something we're trying to look down the future at funding to get new tools. But so we have an engine, we got the squad, and we have a tanker. Your tanker carries the water. So yeah, we run a lot of motor vehicle crashes, and those are particularly hard. Because we run more of those, you're seeing death and carnage a lot. And I think if you're interested in being a volunteer, you do have to ask that serious question. If you are interested, you got to know that you're going to see stuff.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna be
And-
able
Who
to
else is
handle
going to
that.
help them?
And you got to be able
Who
to
else?
handle it.
Who else?
Yeah.
I
And,
got to do this because who else?
And sometimes, when you get in it 25 years, as long as I've been in it, and some of my other friends here in these
Thank you, brother.
departments, it can affect you over time.
Oh, yeah.
And
Amen.
and it will. And the fire service is such a band of brothers. We're like just a big family,
Right.
and that's something that's really cool about the fire department
I
too.
love it.
Is it's a band of brothers, and we're tight, and we support each other, and we help each other. And if there's a problem, if the call was a little rough, we try to talk it out amongst ourselves.
Right. Amen.
That's the healthy way to do it.
Yeah, it is.
But it's a brotherhood, and that's important.
Well, you could gain some volunteers just by that alone. I think
Right.
there's a lot of lost kids out there that are looking for something like that, looking for a
Right.
brotherhood.
They
They're
are.
out there by themselves. So
They don't know where to
that's a good
start. So, I
Right.
mean, just every Tuesday, 6 o'clock.
Yep, come by and see us.
You know Clint now, and there's other ones. I mean, it's a little, it's a little intimidating. I would be if I didn't know anybody. I'm like, well, I don't know Clint, but you just go up and just be like, hey, man, I'm kind of interested in doing this,
So
and you're welcome.
So at Patrick Springs, we have 46 individuals on the roster, and out of 46, 25 are active. And I would say out of 25, you probably have 12 to 14 that are running the majority of the calls.
Wide open.
we serve a 62 square mile area. That's our district.
That's a big area.
With a population of a little over 5,000.
Wow.
I'm one.
And so the calls vary from trees down in the roadway to power lines arcing, motor vehicle crashes, fires, special rescues. Another big thing, Daniel, you talk about not having a hospital. I would say, and I'm not running very much in a rescue squad anymore, but I do have my EMT, and I used to run at Jeb Stewart back in the day.
Oh, yes. Yes,
I would say
Thank
now
you.
that we don't have a hospital, and since we've lost the hospital, we're probably flying out, I would say, almost close to 35% of the calls.
Man.
And that number might be a little lower, but any major stroke, heart attack,
Yes.
trauma
Golden hour.
has to be
Right.
pretty much flown out now. Well, each time we land a helicopter in Patrick County, the fire department must be present
Oh, wow.
because of,
Landing zone. To get
the
up
landing
set
zone.
up.
Some of the most crucial times for helicopters are taking off and landing.
Right.
That's why you got to have fire suppression there.
They got to be safe first.
So we get toned out a lot for LZ setups. And so we're flying a lot of people out. And to the credit of the rescue squads, they're hurting.
Yes.
Volunteerism is down on that side of things too. And now you have to take a patient to Martinsville, Mount Airy, or Twin County in Galax.
Yep.
And that ambulance is being tied up for at least 2 hours.
Easily.
2 hours, 15 minutes, you're tied up.
Yep.
So think about the volunteer in the rescue squad. Hey, boss, I need to leave. We got a call. Well, yeah, but
Back in 2
volunteer,
hours.
yeah, it takes 2 hours. I can't let you go, So losing the hospital doubled and tripled
It
the
did.
call time for that rescue
I
squad.
don't know. I seen the sign. It's going to be open 2023.
Well, we
Huh?
we have hope, but
It's in a dire need.
it is very dire need.
That was a political stunt.
It was political,
anyway.
but that's true. So, I mean, it's a sad situation. We do have some pictures.
We got pictures today?
Miss Shania, I'm going to throw you out. Throw under the bus.
Gotta love pictures.
Yeah, there you go. Bull Mountain Boys. Now, that's one thing I wanted to ask you about. Where did that come about? Now, I know Bull Mountain.
Well, that's just it.
This is
So
it.
a lot of it's called, and I hope we got a little bit more time here. It's called Company
Yes.
Pride. Company Pride.
Right.
So fire departments develop Company Pride if they're really into it, And so we got a lot of Company Pride going on at Patrick Springs. They
You do.
express that. Fire companies will express that in certain ways, either by putting a slogan over the windshield, which many other matter of fact, every New York City engine company and ladder company
does,
has a
yes.
slogan over their windshield.
It is, yeah.
Another way is the numbers, the big green numbers. That's an aftermarket thing. It's a little cool thing you can do for
So it's Company
Pride.
23
Yep.
in Patrick County.
Yep. And the Bull Mountain Boys, well, we got Bull Mountains the majority of it's in our district.
Yeah.
When we had the Bull Mountain fire back in 2004, a lot of us spent a week up there.
Right.
And
I remember when that hit. Lightning.
so the Bull Mountain Boys, that's what we got going on there. And that's our structure engine. That's a Pierce. We had to buy that used.
Really?
Because of the budget.
Yeah.
Right now, it is really hard for a fire department to buy a new engine.
I can only imagine what the price of one would be.
About $700,000,
Good
and that's
gravy.
not with no.
Wow.
That's with no whistles and bells. And so, if we had to buy a new engine at Patrick Springs right now, we would not be able to do it.
No way.
We can't.
No
do it.
way.
So that's another shot of engine 23. So there's our squad, and what we did there is a picture of the new rope rescue equipment that we purchased. Now, I stated earlier that we have a special ops team in Patrick County.
Thank God.
We have everything you can think of as far as rope rescue on that trailer. We are blessed there with the
Yes.
equipment. But each fire department should carry a complement of light rope rescue stuff because you'll have vehicles over the embankment. You might have we'll get them. a hunter in a deer stand has a medical emergency, and now you got to get them out of the deer stand, which can be not a simple task. So we got our rope rescue gear. That picture right there, that is, if you see on the bag, it says RIT rope.
Yeah.
That is for rescuing a firefighter out of a window. There is now, like I mentioned, fireman goes down, that's a lot of weight.
Oh, yeah.
If you're on a second floor and you can't find the stairwell to get them down, you might have to take them out a window.
Right.
That can be a monumental task, especially if you don't have manpower. And we lack manpower, especially in Patrick County. So
Yes.
that is a 3-to-1 mechanical advantage that is designed to be rigged up to a ladder. We take one of our
Really?
firefighting
That
ladders.
pulley system.
Wow.
And we would throw the ladder above the window. So you would put the ladder against the house, but you're not using the ladder to climb in the window. You're using the ladder as a high directional anchor point.
Really?
So you would clip that on and use that to get the fireman out of the window.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're being kicked off.
And that's
There we
just,
go.
there's another
Look at the
picture
guys
of,
out there.
of our new guys.
Guys
Just
and
want to
gals.
say that's some of our new guys that went through the class. We're doing a drill. What we were training right there is masking up with your gloves on.
Oh,
So it is, you shave a minute or two off your get up time as far as getting into the house if you can put your mask on without taking your gloves
Right.
off.
Wow.
So we were in a circle and we were just practicing donning the air pack and then putting the mask on your face without taking your gloves off.
All right, so I got the warning.
Yep.
So but there's one thing I want to push before we get going here. So somebody such as myself, I don't have the time. I could make the time. I guess I could. Able-bodied person. How can we help Patrick Springs Volunteer Fire Department? How can we help Patrick County? We do not have a hospital. So how do we do it? Do we write a check to Patrick Springs Volunteer Fire Department? How do we do it? I mean, I know there's, you throw money at the situation, but I mean, that really does help because you, like you said, need to get this equipment up to date.
Yep.
We need to stand before the Board of Supervisors. We got taxpayers. We got all this stuff, but people realize, and I realize as a taxpayer and being a citizen of Patrick County, that we do not have a hospital.
No.
We rely on the volunteers. You are giving 100% of your time, taking out of your business time in order to help people. So how can we do it? How can we do it?
Donate.
Donate. How we donate?
We send out 4,000 donation letters once a year, and we only normally get back about 350.
So
of them.
can we come by the fire department right there on Spring Road and just give money?
Yep.
Can we do that? Just
Donate. We can use the money.
So just write it out, Patrick Springs
Write the
Volunteer Fire
check.
Department.
Check can be
Fairstone, wherever you're
Yep,
from,
yep.
Patrick County. We just write it out.
It is extremely important right now to donate,
Right.
Because everyone's.
Right.
I'm not going to say hurting, but we need the money.
I mean, everybody's in a bad situation. That's
right.
We got this government going on.
Yep.
But I mean, it's so we're going to be fighting at Patrick Springs. We'll be fighting at Patrick County Board of Supervisors. But these people are giving of their time. You and all the other ones are giving of their time to be able to care for other people. And so the only thing that I know other than giving up of our time is to try to support it.
Yeah.
Money wise.
Yeah, that's
money wise.
We could use it. So
Yeah. I know you're not going to ask for that, but I want to throw it out there because we need it. Y'all need it. I mean, these people look out for our lives, our neighbors' lives. It's we're super blessed to have volunteers. Super blessed to have volunteers in our
Amen.
area.
Amen.
I mean, phew, it's unbelievable. Local heroes is what I call them. Local
Thank you.
heroes. So thank you, brother. I mean, I wish we had more time. You are
it was good chat.
well, you are a wealth of knowledge And I so thank you for everything that you're doing. Your wealth of volunteerism, you've been doing it for what? Would you say
25 years.
25 years. I know you don't like tooting your own horn. That's why I'm here. I will toot it, brother. I'm so thankful for you. I'm thankful for all the other ones that's giving of their time.
Thank you, Dan.
They know who they are.
Yep.
God knows who they are.
That's right. Yep.
God knows who they are.
Amen.
So I'm extremely grateful. Extremely grateful. Can't say it enough.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being on here.
You all be real.
We
Come
look
on
forward
back.
to having come on back.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.